up South Africa. You've been sleeping far too long. Wake up South Africa. Now come along and sing this song. Wake up South Africa.
Sanmanani, Jumelang, Monweni, Absheni. Hello, Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on this beautiful Sunday morning, on the Sunday morning inspiration session. My name is Nomsa and I'll be the host for today. Today we have a very special guest hailing all the way from East Africa, Kenya, Omkara Prabhu. So Prabhu, over onto you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Like I said previously, yes, take it away.
Yeah, so thank you so much for the invitation. You know, I've not had the privilege to give like a very big session like this.
Not to worry, Prabhu. This is very intimate. Feel at home.
Thank you so much. So Namam Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Tinamine, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharini, Nirvasesa Sunyavadi, Vaskutya Restatarine, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadara, Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I welcome you all to this wonderful session. I used to attend the sessions in the beginning, but then, commitments. And then also we've had the chance to invite Savyasakshi Prabhu to some of our sessions here in Nairobi. And it's been long since he came back. We haven't done many sessions then, but we're always happy to connect with him. So this is a very nice opportunity that is given to me to try and say, bring out something from my ignorance, and see whether it actually makes sense. So the topic of today is spiritual investment. So I basically chose that topic because of an experience I had just recently. So just a few months ago, I happened to lose my dad, and he was someone who we were very, very close. Even though I'm following the devotional life and is not into it and everything, but just as a father and son, we were getting along. Our relationship was very good. So then when it happened that I lost him, and then it was very devastating. But at the same time, with the understanding and philosophy that we are taught in the movement, in the scriptures, then it was somehow easy to it was somehow easy to go through the process. So, but this the issue of death hasn't been something that it's been something that I've been thinking for a very, very long time. Actually, as far as I can remember, before even I began school, it was something that I was always contemplating about, because when you're young, there was a small boy, that is, I never thought that adults could get sick. I thought, when you become an adult, you become invincible. You don't get sick, you don't die. So one time my mom was sick also, at that age when I was small. So then, I got really worried, so, oh, this thing can even happen to elder people. They can get weak and unable to move, and, they can even die. So that is when I began to question myself about this, why like we have such an arrangement that we enjoy every day very nicely with our friends and family and neighbors. But then, like there's a time will come when everyone will be taken away. So that was not sitting well with me. So I began questioning, like along those lines. And at the same time, I was looking, like we have a big family. So like we are 7 of us in the family. So I was always curious who will go first. I was always looking and trying to see, sometimes thinking, oh, maybe it is this guy or this other one, or maybe sometimes even me. So I was always curious, like what will happen. So then when it happened, then I was like, oh, okay, like this was how the setup was supposed to be. So, but then at that point when, he was leaving his body, then I just realized how that actually you must, if you're a spiritualist or you practice any someone practicing any type of spirituality, they have to believe that there's life after death. That has to be like something that is someone really believes in. Otherwise, then if there's no life after death, then there's no need of practicing spiritual life. So someone has to have that initial faith that, okay, there's something after death. So, but then when you lose someone close, then you really realize that, oh, actually there's something after death. And then you begin now to ask yourself now how you're supposed to live your life in order to like have a best destination. Because like when someone dies also, especially when they are close to you, you try to do everything you can according to your spiritual understanding, make sure that they end up in the right place. You do kirtans, yeah, you'll chant so many rounds just to make sure that like they're in the right, they land on the right hands after here. So those were some of the things that we used to do. And something interesting happened at that point, when I have other relatives who are in the church, and also I have some Muslims also. So my sisters were like there, and they used to pray so much, like how the devil is defeated, and like how they've taken away his power, and how everything is going to be okay. Nothing will happen because they've defeated the enemy. Things like that. So, but then when he passes away, and then they are like, oh, like that was like God's plan. Like God wanted it that way. So I was wondering to myself, then why were you saying that like why are you talking about the devil then? So I just I, thought that maybe one day I will raise, like when I'm sitting with them, raise the topic, and like just to try and poke them a little bit and tell them, that actually the devil does not exist. So, and then when they try to justify it, I will tell them, then why were you that day when when dad was passing away, you were saying that like you've defeated him, but then when he passed away, you were like, oh, that was God's plan. So then where is his presence? Like where do we feel his influence? In the sickness, or when so like that. So that is just something I am interested in doing to them and see what they will say. Yeah. So, but then that kind of just reminded me that, oh, like I'm really supposed to do something about my situation in the afterlife, basically, because now it is something that is going to happen. And because I know that there is something after this, then I have to like, when we speak about investments, means like it's something that you put for your future. So in the Bhagavatam, Bali Maharaj mentions that the best thing that someone can acquire in this life, it is not like possessions or even relatives. All these things, once you die, they are just, like they remain somehow useless. But the only thing that doesn't remain is someone's reputation. So what they live in, like their character, basically, what they live is, that is what people think about when they remember these people. So like our actions, and he was saying this to justify why he was giving Vamandev those three steps of land, because then even if he passes away, but that action alone, giving to Lord Vishnu these three steps, even if he takes over the whole universe, but his name, like will still be glorified, So he was like, so fame is the most important thing that one can acquire. It means like fame, the right kind of fame, that which is like talked about for years and years and years. So then, in order to acquire that particular thing, like that goal, then we somehow have to invest in, like certain things, means like the virtues. So for example, we are taught even in our classes, how we are supposed to be humble and patient and tolerant and all of these things. So those are some things that develop once one is practicing spiritual life. But like in the process of practicing, then we have to somehow cultivate these qualities also at the same time. Of course, when someone is perfect, then like they are just like how they automatically manifest. But in the course of dealing with other devotees and also other people in life, once we've not obtained that perfection, so these are qualities that we have to like cultivate each and every day. So I read once that this American founding father, so Benjamin Franklin, so they have his picture there, $100 bill. There is his picture up there. So this in his autobiography, like he highlights how he was practicing these virtues. So he had like a table, and for 1 week he would practice, maybe let's say it's truthfulness. So he would practice it for a week and record and see how much progress he has made as far as being truthful is concerned. And so he had like 13 virtues, and the next week he would take another one and another one and another one. So at the end of it, at the end of 1 year, so when he was writing his conclusion, he was like, I've not achieved perfection by practicing these virtues, but if I had not practiced them, then I wouldn't be better than I am now. So like by practicing them, then he has become, better and better and better. So we see that just by even in the, like in the material sense, when someone puts an effort to practice these virtues in that way, then they become famous all over the world. This guy is in the dollar bill. People use that every day, even today, since he passed away that time. So in that way, we see that the statements of Bali Maharaj are actually true, that when one leaves a good reputation, then that is the most important thing. In Kenya here, we have also currency. So long ago, we had the pictures of presidents. But then when another president came in, he said, now we have to do away with all these pictures. Now we'll put the, now we have, because tourism is one of the biggest sectors in Kenya. So they put like pictures of animals in the currencies. So why? Because these guys, there's nothing special about them. Whatever they like, they were thieves and they did all kinds of things. So you don't want even to remember them. So this guy did away with all those faces. And then now, it is better to have animal pictures than pictures of these guys. So so in that way, when we practice these virtues, then, we become, our legacy then becomes very nice, like when people at the end of it think about us. So then there's now in the process of our practicing spirituality, then there's sometimes, like we are hindered, there's so many hindrances and the illusion, so we are caught up in the illusion. I remember this story of Narad Muni, who went to Krishna and he was asking him, like, I want, what is Maya? So then Krishna wanted to show him, what it actually is, rather than just giving him an answer. So they went out walking in the desert, and then suddenly they were feeling very thirsty. So Krishna is like, oh, Narad Muni, please fetch me some water. I'm feeling very thirsty. So Narad Muni goes and looks for water, and he sees this village, and he goes to this village and he, to look for water to bring back to Krishna. So, but then when he goes, then he meets this beautiful girl, and then, like, instead of asking for water, suddenly he becomes really attracted to her, and then, he wants to marry her, and then he goes to the father of the girl, and the father of the girl was like, oh, like, since I am old and I'm going away, if you want to marry my daughter, you have to take care of all these things, like everything that is my responsibility, you have to take it upon yourself. So Albuni agrees. Then he gets married, then has children, and then, like, he's happily living his life for like 12 years. So after that, then this storm comes, and he loses all his children and his wife, and he's so devastated. And because everyone has been swept by the floods, so he's so devastated, and like, he hears this voice of Krishna telling him, please give me some, get me some water. So when that voice gets intense, so this guy wakes up and sees Krishna. So like, he's very devastated. He's like, I can't live my life anymore because I've lost everything. If it is better you just kill me also, because I don't have any reason to live. And then, Krishna touches his forehead, and then he wakes up from that consciousness, and Krishna asks him, what do you think about my illusionary energy? And he's like, it is impossible to get yourself out of that situation. Like, it's like practically impossible. So, but then our lives is also like that. At the end of the day, it is just us and the super soul. The super soul is there, and then there's the soul. So there are only two people, So, but then the soul gets entangled into this material world in a very deep way, that it is even impossible to hear the voice of the super soul. So the super soul sometimes whispers, like, it's like when we hear classes, basically, and we get so inspired, or when, we are attending a funeral, so we get so inspired, to like just practice spirituality and take it up very, very seriously. And then in the course, now we are very inspired, and we begin, with our consciousness, which is very, very serious. So the first day, the second day, the third day, and then, like we begin to reset back to our default system. And then at that point, you somehow hear the voice of the super soul saying, you have to continue, like be more determined. You can do this. Just try a little bit more. And then we are like, but I have these other things, to take care of. And then the super soul is like, no, but it's just you and me. There's no one else. So, but still, we always are forced to on the other side of things. So it is very important that once we know what this world is, and that no one in this world comes out alive, then it is important to basically invest something in their life after. So to just basically practice spirituality in a more serious way, if we have some chanting to do and things like that. So basically just invest a little bit of energy into that as well, because that is, at the end of the day, that is what really, really matters, So we have so many things that matter, but that is also very, very important. So and the good thing about our spiritual investment is that it doesn't get it is not like the material investment where you can lose your money or your property sometimes. This one is just like stagnant. It never depreciates. So it is the best kind of investment we can do to our lives. So it is mentioned that every living entity is self-centered. But then at the same time, we actually do not know what our best self-interest is, because we do not know ourselves. We do not know who we are. We do not know that we are the spirit soul trapped in this body. But once, when that knowledge is awakened, somehow, when I was still searching for, something that would convince me, like just something I will, when someone is just they are looking for some spiritual path that will get them closer to the truth. So when I was looking for that, there was one time I remember I was reading a lot of books on basically psychedelics and all these things, and how people they have these experiences, psychedelic experiences, and how phenomenal those experiences are. So in my place, I got, I wanted to experience this phenomenal that people talk about, but then I didn't know where to find these psychedelic medicines. So then the closest thing to that, when I was reading, so I went to Google and I typed, things that can give you those hallucinations. So I saw that weed also has, like that experience. So that was something that I could get easily, because we used to go with some friends of mine and they used to buy, so I knew where they get them from. So that day, after reading all these books, I want to experience this thing. So I went to that plug, and I found him seated at the same place. So I bought and I went with it. So I when I was at home, so I smoked it. But then I went back to my laptop because I was waiting to feel, those experiences. So, but it wasn't coming. So I typed, like, why is it that, I've smoked and I'm not feeling anything? So then there was that, people respond. It was, I think, in Quran or something. But then they said, like, you have to inhale that, you have to inhale that smoke, then you'll feel the experience. So I went back and took the half that was remaining and I lighted it, and so I had that experience. So then what was in my mind, what I experienced was, my mom was there, she was like bringing food, and I was like, oh, this is, that this experience is what everyone in the world has been hiding away from me, but now, I know. I have finally, I have finally found the secret of the world. But then it didn't last long, But then after some time, when I got in touch with the Bhagavad Gita and I read about the science of the soul, then that was like, yeah, that was not it, like this is it. Because I had been always, like wondering about death. And here Krishna is explaining that, we don't actually die. We are the spirit soul, and the soul doesn't die. So then I was like, now this is the secret that I was looking for. So then, I settled, like it was like a done deal. Because all my questions had been answered at that point. So it is good. I thought that it was good that at least, my family thought I was crazy. It is better to be thought crazy by joining the movement than when you've smoked and you're crazy like that. Then, like this craziness was better than what I would have turned out, So because either way, like Prabhupada explains that, people on the other side, they see you as crazy and you also see them as crazy. So there's those perspectives are there. But, I just thought to myself that this craziness is a little bit better. So then within these teachings, then we are always reminded about what we will do, as in what will happen to us after everything has passed. So we know everything. We know when I want to go to the heavenly planets, this is what I'm supposed to do. If I want to go to the spiritual world, this is what I am supposed to do. If I want to come back, if I want to go to hell. So we have that whole science. So now, if we know our best self-interest, of course, everyone wants that. Everyone wants the highest thing. So then we will automatically be drawn towards, the highest goal. And this highest goal, which is to develop that love of God. So then we need to, like, every day just, invest in that a little bit more and more and more and more, until eventually we are able to attain it. And the sweetness of it is that even by sharing that knowledge with others, who don't know, then still that is some investments, like in our material, in the material sense. When you go to the bank and you share the information, like you share with people about how to invest, it doesn't add anything into your account, but this one is different. You actually, by sharing it, you're still adding to your life something, just by sharing it. So then we have, like, to reach out to people and try to, like, also wake them up. So we are doing different programs in East Africa and also South Africa, and all of us are basically just trying to, like, invest in our spiritual life, one day at a time, and like that. So that is very, very encouraging. So I would like to basically invite some comments, if anyone has anything to share about, like our spiritual practices and how basically essential they are to our lives. Then maybe some people can give some different highlights so that we can get a little bit more out of this class. So anyone has something to add?
Oh, we've got a hand up from Sabyasachi Prabhu. If you'd like to unmute yourself, Sabyasachi Prabhu, and ask your question.
I appreciated that section you mentioned about engaging with your family members, that in your family there's Christian and people from Islam, on the question of the devil and the cause of suffering. I thought that actually if the devotees on the call, if we have some people who are willing to discuss on these, who are from these schools, it would make for a very nice discussion. What is the cause of evil? What is the cause of death? Where does the devil fit in? I think it's a discussion which is not had, at least with an audience facing different individuals who represent different schools. And it's an important aspect for people to understand, because all of us have to face this death. And so we want to tap into the resources of the different scriptures to understand this, which we must all meet. So yeah, if you do arrange it with your family members, you get one who is passionate to discuss, is it the devil's fault we're dying, or is it God's plan that we're dying? And it will make for a nice discussion. So we should try to arrange that. And if it's not filmed or anything, do let us know, Prabhu, how that went.
Yes,
discussion.
Yeah, the funny thing is that they don't even realize it, that they were saying this and now they are saying this.
Yes, we have a hand up from Jagat Bandu Prabhu and Hosi Prabhu. So Jagat Bandu Prabhu, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. USA, the organizers, and Sabyasachi for sending me this invitation for every Sunday. I always try my level best to attend. Sometimes I fail, but I thank you, because most of the times I attend, I get very important inspiration. So about this issue, what the Christians call the problem of evil. I'm sorry, I hope you can hear me. My teeth are tied together because of the problem I got. So it's a little bit hard for words to come out. So I was reading a very important article, very interesting article by Ravindra Swarup-Das. Ravindra Swarup-Das is on the GBC Strategic Committee. He's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And he was analyzing a book by a Judaist theologian called Harold Kushner. Harold Kushner has written about this problem of evil. And Ravindra Swarup was analyzing it with our philosophy. It's a very interesting article. In the article, he's covering the Christian branch of theology called theodicy, which discusses the origin of sin and which discusses where the devil exists, whether the devil exists and why bad things happen to good people. Actually, that's the title of the book is analyzing, why bad things happen to good people. So you realize there's a lot of confusion in Christian theology about this problem, because they are trying to say, one of the leading Christian theologians, St. Augustine, he said either God is so powerless, which might makes him not worth of worship, or he is powerful, but there are things he cannot really manage, which also creates doubt in people's hearts about how they can follow God who has certain things he cannot solve. That was his paradox about why evil happens. So, and I was looking at it and I was saying this is a very important discussion for all of us, actually, especially we who are preaching on the African continent. This is a very important discussion, because when you are preaching to people who are predominantly from the Christian faith, one thing you find is a shallowness about this topic, and teachings based on dogma, on what the pastor says. My pastor says this, and that's it. Where does your pastor get what they teach? They don't know. So picking from where Savasashi stopped, this is a very important topic, and I want to thank you for engaging in it. A proper explanation of this topic can win very many souls to Krishna, because it really solves all the questions they have had all their lives. That Adam and Eve sinned, and then because of his sin, we are all culpable for another's sin. They did not have the mystical understanding of what Adam and Eve really means. And then, of course, the Christian burden of putting the sin on women, saying women are the ones who betray mankind. And they keep on saying women cannot participate in preaching. Very important topics. So I want to thank you for bringing it up. It awakens my realizations on this very important topic. That was my contribution. Thank you very much.
I just want to jump in on that, sorry. It goes further that, then it's not my responsibility, my suffering and whatever happens to me. And I have no power to turn it around, my situation in this world and suffering. So then only, a savior must come who will die for my sins. And I just have to profess with my mouth that I accept this said savior. And that said savior can be invoked at any point when I think that things are tough. Let me just go clear my sins, So it creates this, as Prabhupada would say sometimes, using even a pure devotee like Jesus Christ as a doormat, that we do what we do and then we just go there and we can wipe the mud off this doormat and then we're good. That some people even laugh at the idea that there must be a sadhana, a process that we practice, that there must be control of the senses and we should not partake of certain sinful activities, because why are you people so bothered and struggling like this when there is the Son of God who can take care of any damn thing that I do? And so, it's a corruption in the way that souls are being taught how to correct their position in material existence. So it's really something that needs to be discussed and on a big stage and consistently, as Jagat Bandhu Prabhu is pointing out, because it's holding back a great many souls from really correctly understanding our situation in the material nature and our responsibility towards coming out of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Savisachi Prabhu and Jagat Bandhu Prabhu. Kosi Prabhu, if you can unmute yourself, please, and ask your question.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for the discussion, Prabhu. Nice things about Krishna consciousness is that, especially, very different from the other philosophies, is that they really bring death to the forefront, and it really makes you consider it, whereas before you don't really consider it, and you see it amongst your relatives and things like that. Like recently, my family have been going to a lot of funerals. I think my neighbor passed away, my grand's sister passed away, and then one of her friends passed. So they've really been going to a lot of funerals. And my grand, I was seeing her yesterday, commented that now all my parents have passed away, all my siblings have passed away, my husband has passed away. Now I'm alone.
So we'll try to get him back as soon as he's able to log in again. In the meantime, would you like to comment on the comments that have been said from Savisachi Prabhu and Jagat Bandhu Prabhu?
Yes, maybe to add something or just to inquire about something. Although, like, what I've just been wondering, like, then what makes someone still stick to that ideology, even when when you've been defeated, in the process of basically maybe stamping over the devil, so because sometimes you get defeated because you saying that God will win, but then you lose the battle, but then you still stick to that ideology, and you're constantly fighting against this force which sometimes defeats you, but then you go back and to what is actually true, that everything is actually, and not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of God. So like, why is it that you don't stick to one, they don't stick to one ideology? It seems to be going back and forth as if, like in a circle. So it's like this side, and then when you're defeated, then you come to this side. And then you always like that constant switching from one to another. So what makes someone stick to that ideology? That is like something that maybe I would like to inquire about in this session.
Could we have Savisachi answer that?
I could just share a perspective is incomplete understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That it's understood that God is all good. And then our understanding of all good is that minus what we consider bad. And bad means disease, death, old age, bankruptcy, all these things. And so to attribute something that we deem bad to God, then it seems that it's a blasphemy. But that is incomplete in that, yes, Krishna is not responsible for the action and reactions of each living being. We are responsible for our actions and reactions. But Krishna is overseeing everything. Everything is working under the supervision of the Lord. So the sanction of the Lord is that he has set material nature off on its course. It works. It's a machine that works a certain way. And we need to blame someone for what we consider bad. And so this misunderstanding of material nature being a tool for discipline and correction of our own character and flaws, then we have made material nature in opposition to God. Like, okay, then the devil is someone who's fighting God. And so we can only say the bad is his doing. Whereas, higher theology says that material energy is working on behalf of God. Just like Prabhupada gives the example, the prison warder and the prison guards. They've got nothing against you who is in the prison. But because you have come into that institution on behalf of the government, they have to discipline you. Some of that means they lock you up. Sometimes they beat you down if you misbehave. So it's not really that the fault is in the guards, but that's the immediate cause of the suffering that we're looking at. So it's like half-truth it can be very dangerous, in that one part of it is there's an understanding, there's an element which is serving against us, but not seeing the munificent aspect of material nature. It's meant to qualify us to go back to God. So the devil is just supplying what we want. We desire material enjoyment, so it's the marketing department. Here's material pleasure, come this side, come this side. But we are meant to be able to resist that and take shelter of the Lord, and therefore graduate from the school of material energy. But they can't reconcile that even if you call material energy the devil, that he is working for God. They try to remove him from his service and make him an independent competitor of God, instead of seeing said devil as a servant of God to correct us. So it's us who are in the fault. It's not that it's the devil's fault. So we default and blame the devil and not blame the devil in us, our own material desires and shortcomings. So it's a responsibility game, I find, if we can more and more allow people to understand that I am completely responsible for everything that comes to me. And I'm responsible for acting in a way that I bring in some better future.
Yeah, it is true, because we see that it's as if, like those two camps, you have those two camps. So since we are in the side of God, so sometimes we go to battle and this enemy defeats us, but we know that we have the most powerful person. So he's wise enough, he knows like why it happened, why we were defeated. So we'll just accept it as a defeat, but he still remains, our enemy. So they somehow try to make it like that, because, like basically even in their attitude, they are always like, like we are the soldiers of Christ, and like it's as if they are fighting against forces or any other person who has a different thing, like it's like you are part of the enemy. So there's that element, and sometimes the enemy wins, but otherwise God knows why the enemy has won this time. So then we will be peaceful with it. There's no problem, because we have the wisest person who knows everything. But still, they can't reconcile those two elements.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
We have a question in the comment section. Thank you so much, Prabhu. we have a question in the comment section, or rather a comment in the comment section from Bafana Prabhu, and he can unmute himself to adjust anything that I may not be seeing right, or to elaborate further on his point. He says, yes, we really need to study and be close to the born-again Christians and what they really want to achieve in their pursuits. I believe they're still making progress in controlling their behaviors to attain godliness. In short, helping us in a nice approach, and also through studying the Bible, study of the Bible, then make good comments to help each other to complete their journey. So that's a comment from Bafana Prabhu. We also have a comment from Wusa Admin that says, perhaps there is a need for interfaith debate. I think that would be a really nice thing to happen, so we can engage further on these topics. I see that Jagat Bandhu Prabhu has his hand up. If you can unmute yourself, Prabhu.
Thank you. Well, I was just looking through my books here to show you a book that was written by St. Augustine, but I can't see it. The father of Christian theology is St. Augustine. St. Augustine is the one who expounded the Christian philosophy of the Trinity of God, that God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. There are many theologians after him. But like Omkara Prabhu was saying, even St. Augustine, he failed to define this issue, that God, the relationship between God and the devil, Satan, he couldn't expound it. He left questions. He left 3 questions hanging about this topic. So the whole Christian teachings have difficult about these issues. And that is a catching point for every ISKCON preacher to a predominantly Christian community. You get the weakest points where they don't have answers, and that's where you attack, and you give very clear answers. And then they will be left amazed. They will go back and think about these answers. That's how they got caught. Prabhupada had so many debates with these Christian theologians, and you could defeat them. Only that they were big people in society, and I imagine they could not convert. But in the debates, you could see that Prabhupada has left them with food for thought about their own theology. So, about this issue of the devil and the agency of the devil, I was discussing here with a Christian preacher about the agency of the devil, the Satan. And then I told him there is a book of Job in the Bible. At the beginning of the book, we see God having a discussion with the devil. But in your Christian teachings, you show as if God and the devil have nothing to do with each other. Like one is in the east, another is in the west. There is no equator between them where they can meet. There is, so that the Greenwich and the equator can meet, nothing. So how do you reconcile this? And he had no answer. Prabhupada, in all his books, in all our philosophy, he has explained how Maya is the backside of Krishna. How Maya is the other energy, the illusory energy, acting according to our whims to grant us our wishes as we want, because we are in a problematic world. So my feeling is these are the weakest points, and we must capture them. Here in Kampala, one of the things I have decided, I am going to start publishing a magazine. And I invite you all Prabhus to contribute articles on topics like these. The magazine is going to be on topics like these. Because Uganda is 85% Christian. So I want to be looking at the Christian understanding of things discussing with a philosopher in this magazine. So we you don't know whatever people like the Jehovah's Witness, they do this magazine called Awake. It is very prominent. People, you find it all over. I don't know whether people read it, but I read it. So I think we should devise ways of encouraging this debate to continue, because through this debate, we shall win souls. Like one of the commenters, I don't know, it was Bafana Prabhu or somebody was commented and said, I think we should have interfaith dialogue. Interfaith dialogue, yes, but we should have it, but we should see how to innovate, because interfaith dialogue means calling people. They may not be willing to come. Sometimes it can be violent, but in our own innovative ways, I think that we should encourage this interfaith dialogue, or East-West dialogue, like the way it is called in Prabhupada's books. East-West dialogue to continue raging, so that we pose these questions in their heads and we haunt them with answers they have never heard of. Hare Krishna, thank you very much. I'm so happy to be on the call.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I'm not sure if there's anyone who has a question or a comment. I see that we're a little over time and we still have to read the announcements for this week. And Prabhu, I'd like you to stay on so you can give us your closing words. So I'd just like to do the final roll call for anyone who still has a question or comment. Okay. It seems like everyone had their fair share of what they said. This has been a very beautiful conversation to have, and I wish we can have a discussion. I remember we used to have WUSA Wednesday discussions. This would be a nice discussion to start off those WUSA Wednesday discussions. It's a very beautiful topic, and one that really needs to be expounded on in an interfaith way or East-West way. With the number of people that we may know in our own personal lives. I think it's a very brilliant topic. And thank you so much, Omkara Prabhu, for bringing us this topic. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go start with the announcements for this week. So please stay tuned. Do not leave the class. We still have Omkara Prabhu's final words at the end of this class. So Omkara Prabhu can be found on Facebook at Owen Omkara, and that would be spelled at OWENOMKAR. Kindly visit, like, share, and follow WUSA on all social media platforms. That includes Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at WUSA108. Help us to get to 1,000 followers and subscriptions and more. We thank you so much for your support. Please join the morning japa sessions every morning from 5 a.m. Standard South African Time to 7 a.m. Standard South African Time. Details around the daily programs will be communicated in the WUSA Weekly WhatsApp group. The Books Are the Basis Book Club is a jam-packed reading and sharing of realization sessions taking place every Thursday via Zoom. You are more than welcome to participate and take advantage of this regular association. Catch the wisdom readings as a wisdom reading series, as well as an extension of the Books of the Basis Book Club every Tuesday and Wednesday evening via Zoom at 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Standard South African Time. We are currently studying Vaishnav etiquette and lifestyle alongside Nectar of Devotion. Also, the Heart to Heart Vaishnavi Circle happens every Friday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Standard South African Time with Her Grace Mother Rajalila, featuring various senior Vaishnavis. Please visit www.wusa.online for more information. I'd also like to add that this coming Friday, the 29th of July, we have a very special guest on the Vaishnavi, on the Heart to Heart Vaishnavi Circle. We have Her Grace Mother Rukmini Prabhu joining us, and this is like so special. She very rarely does these type of programs, and she'll be there, very intimate connection with all of us. So Prabhu's in East Africa, if you can ask the Matajis to come and join us this coming Friday. This will be shared on the WUSA Weekly WhatsApp group and on other WUSA platforms. I know Savisachi Prabhu will be advertising. So if you can also just encourage the Matajis to join us this coming Friday, the 29th, we'll have Rukmini Prabhu joining us. To continue this, after I've just hijacked the announcements, save the date a very, very important date, Wusa House Kirtan Party. The sounds of inspiration. Come and sing, dance, and feast with us on the 31st of July from 3 to 5 p.m. at 22 11th Avenue, Melville. A 10 Rand donation will be required at the gate. So please don't forget, next week, Sunday, the 31st, at Wusa House, we're having a Kirtan party. Also, you are invited to join the WUSA Weekly WhatsApp group via the link at www.wusa.online to receive regular activity updates and communication. Please note that this group will only be used for quick announcements and no spams. Only admins can post. And lastly, visit our Sunday morning inspiration page at WUSA's website and let us know what classes, talks, and discussions you may be interested in having, or if you wish to hear from a particular speaker, so we may try to serve you to your best satisfaction. Thank you so much, devotees, for joining in and listening to our class and participating so nicely and in such an encouraging way. Omkara, Prabhu, could you please leave us with your closing words? I'd also like to indicate that on the screen, we have the WUSA fundraiser banking details. If you'd like to donate to WUSA preaching efforts, you're welcome to take a screenshot of this or a picture of this so you can contribute to the WUSA fundraisers. The banking details will be on your screen. Omkara, I invite you to give us your closing remarks for today. We thank you so much for being here with us this morning. It's been such a beautiful class, and from the participation from the audience and the devotees, we can see that you really have inspired us this morning.
Yeah, I thank you so much. Those were like very nice announcements. So many nice programs going on in South Africa. And yeah, so please share with me that program for the Mataji's, so like I can even circulate it over here and invite them for the program. So I'm like actually I'm seeing this is not just sentimentally, but it's actually a fact that we are seeing different programs happening in different parts of Africa, you know, and in Kenya, I know like we have really nice programs going on, like among the African devotees, and there's a lot of meetings and there's a lot of preaching programs going on in Mombasa and in Nairobi also, and also in Kampala, you know, like the same thing is happening over there. Guys are really pushing. And South Africa as well, you know, like there's people are pushing to get devotees connected to each other, and at the same time, you know, like spread the message out there. So I'm really positive that with these efforts, you know, like in the challenges that we face and with the efforts that we are putting, you know, like something good will really come out of all this effort. So this is really encouraging, and I'm so glad that I am part of whatever is going on in my place, and also just to witness and get inspired by everything that is happening outside of Kenya, in Uganda and in South Africa and other parts of West Africa. So this is very encouraging. So those are just actually my parting shots. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for your talk. And we invite you to please come again on a different topic. We really enjoyed having you here, and all the other devotees. We've come to the end of our program this morning. And yeah, we'd like to close out. Thank you so much for everyone who's been here today. Join us again next week on another WUSA Sunday morning inspiration session. From me and the WUSA team, Hare Krishna. Enjoy your
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.